Well, from Ferrex to Yavin 4, Cassian Andor, the highlight of the series, of course alongside Mon Mothma, Saw Gerrera, characters like Dedra, Cyril, the list goes on. Andor Season 2 completely wrapped up the story, and this is the best Star Wars that we've gotten in recent years. Welcome back to Clan Brandalorian. My name is Brandon. As always, if you're into anything in the Star Wars universe, whether that's lore, theories, Funko, and Lego, go ahead and consider subscribing. You can always change your mind later. Just some highlights from Andor Season 2 I did want to talk about today. Absolutely blown away by the ending. This is spoiler warning just for anyone who hasn't seen Andor Season 2. Come back later. I will say it felt like Emperor Palpatine was in the background this entire season. I mean, Season 1's we get kind of hints from him, but it's nothing too spectacular. As in Season 2, it feels like everything within the Empire, the hatred, the blunt force, everything, we can feel Palpatine in his motives. Although that's how I felt. A lot of the ISB had those true intentions of the dark side, it seemed like, especially everything that happened on Gorman. Everything was just so forced, and that's just something Palpatine would do. And of course, Mon Mothma name-dropping Palpatine, basically going against him in what's going on within the politics side of Star Wars. We do get to see Mon Mothma really on full display. And we don't get to see Cassian Andor, pretty much. You know, obviously this is his self-titled show. We didn't really get to see a lot of Andor up until Andor saving Mon Mothma. Now, it's just crazy to think of Mon Mothma as a character back in A New Hope. I mean, we see her then and we look at her now, and she has so much of a story that isn't even told. And think of those who watched A New Hope when that all came out. You know, we're in the late 70s. Would they look at this character and be like, oh, she must have a wide range of a story behind her? Me sitting here right now, I would think absolutely not. But going into it, just knowing that Mon Mothma, you know, had trials and tribulations going against and trying to fill up the rebellion. And of course, Luthen Rael completely risking it all and ultimately shutting down what he had at his shop and taking his own life, basically. This is just something that was completely set up from Season 1, it seemed like. Like, we knew that Luthen wasn't going to make it out. And of course, if he was to die, it would be completely for the rebellion. And of course, we see that with Cassian Andor, so we can see some of his ways being attracted from Luthen Rael. I think characters like Clea and Dedra Meero completely take the show. I feel like them being the side characters that they are really pull a great story. In the end, it seemed like Dedra knew she messed up, and Clea finally made it to a place she can call home. So it's good to see those two stories kind of come full circle. Plus, the stakes were so high this entire season, so pretty much anything that was going on, you know, whether that was Andor's decisions, Saw Gerrera's decisions, Mon Mothma's, they all matter. And that's kind of how it all shows at the end of Andor Season 2, is basically a little farewell journey. We get to see that Krennic is severely upset with what's going on. We see Cassian basically lining up his little story going forward that opens up Rogue One. We see Saw Gerrera ultimately looking out on Jeddah, seeing the Imperial starship over hovering a Kyber mine. So we know in just a few hours to a few days from then, things are gonna hit the fan. Everything from start to finish. Literally, I went back and watched Rogue One directly after the last episode of Andor Season 2, and just in the first 15 to 20 minutes, they're talking about things in the dialogue that is literally talked about in the very last episode of Andor Season 2. So I mean, this wraps up really well, and I think this is really good for Star Wars. It's going to be hard to match this going forward. I will say, like The Mandalorian and Grogu, our expectations are high only because, you know, the last thing we've seen in theaters was The Rise of Skywalker, and I think those are two completely different movies, so there's going to be a lot of contrast. Now, going from Andor Season 2 to Ahsoka Season 2, we're going to expect Ahsoka to be to a certain degree of quality. You know, Andor Season 2 and even Andor Season 1 had some of the best line of work. The visuals were amazing, the music was perfect, and also overall the storytelling was amazing. And not to forget the acting. I mean, this was a critically acclaimed series from the get-go, and it obviously makes a lot of sense. And a lot of fans and a lot of people I know were calling this boring. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like maybe you just don't really flow with the story and what's going on. You know, there's a lot of aspects in this being a Star Wars series. This is the first live action series in Star Wars that doesn't show a lightsaber. So, I mean, that's what we look for in Star Wars. We want to see lightsaber battles, we want to see space battles, but this is telling a story that leads directly to a fight for freedom, for the rebellion, and ultimately whatever side of the fence you sit on, whether it's good or bad. Of course, from a certain point of view, the Empire is just so evil, and the actions that they do in Andor really make you not mess with them at all. So of course we're going to take the side of the rebellion. I mean, Mon Mothma, Cassian Andor, it's amazing. But I will say the not so highlight of the season finale was Bix walking off into the wheat field with her son. And of course, this is Cassian Andor's son as well. This was just very sad to see. So knowing that this kid will never meet his dad just really, you know, hits a weird spot in my heart, because, you know, I am a father as well. And just knowing that Cassian had a son out there is just heartbreaking. And the fact that Cassian has no idea that Bix is out there with his son, knowing that he is fighting for the rebellion, this all makes sense because Bix did leave for a reason. She wanted Cassian to focus more so on everything going on with the rebellion. So this makes sense. Bix left Cassian solely for the purpose of letting him focus on fighting the Empire. Working with the rebellion, Bix knew that this would be a great way for her to kind of go off and live the best life that she could possible. And also, did she know that she was pregnant at this time? Is this ultimately why she made the decision? You know, it was an emotional roller coaster ride, just like as everyone anticipated. This was very sad to see her and her son just off by themselves. And us as fans, us as viewers, know that Cassian should be right there next to them. But that's what makes a good story, because real things like this happen, and it makes it very relatable. So Tony Gilroy, you cooked, you did a great job. Now go enjoy your time off. But with that being said, what did you guys think of Andor as a whole? What did you think of Andor season 2? Did you like the finale? Could it have been better? Let me know down below. And of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Lets you know everything, all things Star Wars, lore, theory, Funko, and Lego, so make sure you don't miss out. But with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. Clan Brandalorian, I'm out.